Welcome to this, your daily 180 Bible study. We're in Acts chapter 17. We're looking at Paul's sermon at the Areopagus. Right behind Paul is the Acropolis with the Parthenon, and inside the Parthenon is the image of the goddess Athena. And all these philosophers are standing around listening to Paul, and the first point that Paul makes to them is that God is the creator, not the created. And then in verse number 26, listen to what Paul has to say. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings. Paul is saying, listen, God's responsible for all mankind. Not only that, God is guiding history. Now get this, God does not make people do things that are contrary to their will. He doesn't make people do evil, and He doesn't make people do good. We are creatures of choice. I was recently talking to a college student, and his professor had told him, he said, you know, one group says that man is basically bad, and another group says that man's basically good. And he says, isn't that silly that religion would conflict one another? Well, let me tell you something. It is silly. Because the reality is the Bible teaches us we're not basically good or bad. We're basically creatures of choice. And we will decide what we're going to do. However, God's ultimate will is going to be accomplished. He's guiding history the way He would have it to go. A great example of that would be over in Acts chapter 2. And I want you to look here. This is an amazing verse when we realize just how amazing God really is. In verse 22, he talks about the fact that Jesus was confirmed to them by signs. And then he says in verse number 23, Him, Jesus, being delivered by the determined purpose and foreknowledge of God. Jesus' appointment with the cross was not a surprise to God. It's what God had planned. Now get this. You have taken by lawless hands, have crucified and put to death. Someone says, well, that's weird. Did God make those men do that? Oh, no. Someone says, did God need them to be bad? Oh, no. But you see, when they decided that they were going to be ungodly, God says, that's fine. That won't mess anything up. I'll use them. And the reality is God's guiding history in the direction He wants it to go. We need to make the decision, am I going to make the choice that I'll live in a way that will be consistent with what God wants? Join us again tomorrow.